Okay, and there's Alolo. Once said, somebody asked me about film many years ago, Johns Hopkins University, I lived in Baltimore many years. Elliot was there when he was a young man. That's why, he has certain understandings today. So they have a pain clinic in Johns Hopkins. This is in the 70s, they had a pain clinic. People were in tremendous pain. What did they wear? So I remember there was somebody related to me. She was an older person. So she wore like a box on her side. That was the electricity. And there were like electrodes that went to her brain. And whenever, because the pain is because there's a impulse which sends the message, and you have pain, whatever it is. So this, whenever that impulse would come, it would block the impulse, and therefore the person wouldn't have pain. And she used to wear this whole device. So it looked like, she wore this thing, and it looks like a man from Mars over here. What is this? That it's energies. You wear the box. It's energies, not literally energies. Infinite energy generates. So that you understand. But this you don't understand. It's like the Chofetz Chaim says, we need certain things in technology because people cannot fathom certain things. So if you understand it within the human context, you understand it within the spiritual context. So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, there's going to be din v'cheshbon. There's a day of reckoning. I mean, does God have all the evidence? So what do you have? As we continue, every phone call, every conversation is recorded, and what? Endless amounts of information, literally relative to infinite. Everything, video, color, every detail, not to be what? Not to be understood. So if we could do it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't do it. This is the Chofetz Chaim. Okay, we left off, we're just holding on 291 in the Mechaber. Just do the Mechaber because we didn't do the Mishna Berura. Achsanai. She'emad likmod of a beso. Person's a guest or a boarder, location, and then not lighting in his home on his behalf. Tzorach losis pruto lebalabais lishtatif imo b'shem shel ner Chanukah. He has to contribute financially to the fuel, to the oil, so when the person who lights the candles in that location, he's considered a partner within the lighting. Let's say he has his own entrance. The person, let's say, he has a guest apartment in his house, and it's a guest, or a person has a boarder. So although the balabais is the one who lives in the main location of the house, but since this person has his own entrance to go in, although he only sleeps still, even if he eats together with the family, and he eats together with the balabais, he has to light his own. He has to light his own candles, because the location where he sleeps identifies him. He's seen as somebody independent. A son who eats by his father, you have to understand this. He should light his own candles if he has his own entrance. But today that we light inside, we don't light in the Pesach Habayis. So therefore, you should light not where you sleep, but rather where you eat. And that's the minog, right? People in yeshiva, if you would light the menorah, it would be in the dining area, it would not be in your room. Okay? Years ago, people had boarders. They used to have these, they used to rent out rooms. So you had a communal location where everybody would eat. And each person had his own room where he would sleep. They used to call it a rooming house. years ago. Right, during World War II, pre-World War II, they were rooming houses. Yeah. You don't hear that term used today. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see the Mishna Berura. Achsnoi. Vodin abachurim shalomdim shel beveisam. Right. Young men go study in yeshiva. Tzrichen l'shtativ al kaponim. You have to participate in the financial cost of the oil and the wick. Daf bocha she'ochel b'fnei atzmo is important. That's only the bocha who eats independent. Avodim somach al shulchan balabayis u'b'chal b'nei beiso. Like in Europe, they had a thing called teg. You know, they never had dining rooms. People, they would divide up the responsibility for the students in the yeshiva among the people living in the community. And the people, he would have his day, this person would host this student. Another day, another person would host. So they're financially responsible to provide food for that student. See, that's good. He's considered part of his family. Just as the family, a child doesn't have to participate in the cost of the fuel, so the person who's supported, who's fed by the family, or same thing. What about if he has attendants? The person has a housekeeper or a maid, or in the olden days they had also. Since they're actually, he feeds them on a regular basis. If you want to be a mahadrin, right? We had earlier. What is the base obligation? 1 candle per household. Mahadrin is each person in the household lights 1 candle every night. Mahadrin is each person lights each candle per night to identify which night you have. Right? That's mahadrin, nida mahadrin. So over here, 1 candle is sufficient if you're part of the household. What's part of the household? If you eat on a regular basis in that particular home. It's interesting. In yeshiva, I remember they used to tell bochrim that in those days you put a nickel in. Why? I mean, everybody eat 3 meals a day in the dining room, right? You stay in the dormitory. So what do you have to be mishtatif? Could be it's different, because there everybody pays tuition. So if you're paying tuition, I'm not somach al shulchan. We're not here. We're not getting handouts. If you pay tuition, that's not somach al shulchan. Here we're talking about where somebody assumes the financial responsibility to feed a person. So there it's like b'nei beiso. You're like one of the children in the household. When yeshiva, you're not one of the children in the household. I mean, you're paying tuition. As a result, unless you say, almost every bacher had a reduction, right? You were on scholarship, a very serious scholarship. So you know what you paid barely covered just board. Covered room, so board for the food. Definitely that was. So maybe really Mikar Adin, based on the halacha, you really didn't have to participate whatsoever. Unless you say that's where they made up the shortfall. You know, they ask you for the extra dime. No. So that's no. That's no worse than the pesach latzmo. We say even if you somach al shulchano, but if you light, you have a separate residence, then you light your own. So it would be no different than that. No, you don't even have to be. It's not a person motzei. It's a reality. Let's say you're not even home, and they're lighting, right? You're not home. Your wife lights on your behalf. You don't have to hear the brachos. It's lechatchila, right? It's the obligations on the household. So since it's my oil being lit, that's sufficient. So he says, when does the achnoi light? When does he have to participate? So the Mechaber says, Shem matlikin olav bebeso, where in his own home, they're not lighting on his behalf. 291. Shem matlik bebeso, ki midino kshishta madlekas ner Chanukah bebeso yotzi de chovosa badlakoso. When one's wife lights in the household, he's yotze without lighting. Achshu b'mokum rochim beso veitzorch shuv lishtati fafilu bepriti. If he's in another person's house, even though he's paying, he doesn't have to participate with having a financial interest in the oil. Vayin tashim marshal When don't you have to light there or participate financially? That's if you know factually your wife is definitely lighting on your behalf at home. But if you're not sure, it's interesting. Why isn't there a Sofi Brochus Lahokel? Right? He says, but if you're not sure, then definitely you should light and even say a bracha. It's not so simple. Why should you say a bracha? And even light, the obligation like Hanukkah lights is a drabanon. We say Sof drabanon l'kula. And on a bracha level, definitely not. We Sof Brochus Lahokel. And he says, no, that if you're not sure whether your wife's lighting or not, then definitely you should light. Dalit. With a bracha, he says. With a bracha. He cites a Trumas Adeshin in the Sharatzion. He says, he says here on the bottom, when it says he knows his wife's lighting, it doesn't mean the actual lighting. He knows his wife knows the halacha that she's able to light on his behalf. Otherwise, the presumption is that she's not lighting. Doesn't mean he knows that she's actually doing the physical lighting. She knows the halacha is that she's supposed to light in the house. So if she knows the halacha, the probability she's lighting. But if she doesn't know halacha, she relies on her husband. And therefore, the presumption she's not lighting. So if it's the presumption she's not lighting, so definitely you should light, even with a bracha, because it's not a Sofi bracha. Because the presumption is she did not light. No. If she knows the halacha, she definitely will light. She does know the halacha, she relies on her husband. So if she relies on the husband, so the husband's not here, she's not lighting. What do you mean? Most cases the woman doesn't know the halacha. Doesn't know the halacha. No, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Husband's always home. Husband's always home. He never instructed. If he instructed her to light always if he's not there, then he knows she's lighting. But he instructed, he says, my husband always lights. I don't light. So if my husband always lights, so she doesn't light, so the presumption is she's not lighting. So if that's the case, it's not a Sofik. Therefore he has to light, even with a bracha. Okay? He says a person didn't realize that they lit on his behalf, and he comes home late, and he comes home and he finds his wife lit the candles, or his family lit the candles on his behalf. Hear what he's saying? He did it. He believed they wouldn't light. They would wait for him. They lit without him. So he had in mind he didn't want to be yotzi with them. Yet normally it's ishto kugufo. His wife's lighting is his lighting, but you can't represent me if I don't want to be represented. So since his mindset was not to be yotzi, when he comes home, chol of takonas chachomim, he has a personal obligation to light. I'm ogrum shtaitu was at the yatl brocha. It's not so simple. That what? Has nothing to do with negative mitzvah. No. That's not. It's different. If you say kiddush, and I have mind, I don't want to be yotzi with your kiddush. Am I yotzi? Everybody. There's not even a question you're not yotzi. Why not? Because there's a concept shomei koner. Yeah, the Gemara says you have to have the mindset of the one who's doing the mitzvah and the one who's being covered. Both of them have to agree to be linked one to another. But if your mindset is I don't want, of course you get me yotzi. So here, that's the question. By Ner Chanukah, right? We always see the wife and the husband as one and the same, right? He thought he'd be lighting. She lit on his behalf. He said, even though it would say, I don't want your lighting to be. But it's no worse than a mahajin and a mahajin. So even though that light was lit in the house, we see she lit on her own behalf. A woman can light on her own behalf, we said earlier. Right? A woman has the right to light on her own behalf. Except the wife doesn't, because the husband, we see the husband and wife as one entity. So if the husband has in mind, I don't want her to represent me, right? So her lighting is she lit for herself. We don't see them as one entity. As a result of that, but he says you should light without a bracha. You see, it's not simple. He cites the Mogen Avram. It's not simple. Since factually, ishto kagufo is a reality, that you can't detach it. It's like a person says kiddush. He says I'm going to be yotzei, but I don't want to be yotzei. I mean, are you yotzei or not yotzei? You're one and the same person. If factually the wife and the husband you see as one entity, you can't say if she had in mind she wants to be yotzei. That means as if the person says I'm the yotzei. Well, I would have preferred to be yotzei myself. Doesn't make a difference. So therefore, the Mogen Avram has this so-called compromise. You want to light, but don't light with a bracha, because factually you may have been yotzei with your wife. Because we have the ishto kagufo. We see the wife and the husband as one entity. No. We just said if you have a guest coming for Shabbos, let's say will come any night staying over, that person has an obligation to light his own candles, unless he participates financially in the oil, right? Each person has his own individual obligation. On the household, only if you're part of the household. If you're part of the household. No, but that's all, again, the lighting you're lighting would be mahadrin. The base obligation the wife already was yotzei. I want to be yotzei mahadrin. I want to do more. But you did more already. Your wife, the answer is no. Since I didn't want to identify as one and the same with my wife, what she did is the base obligation. That's the household. Now, I as an individual want to do more. So that, the Mogen Avram says, you have a right, but without a bracha. Because factually, she may have been motzi you even with the mahadrin. Let's talk something better. You go during the year, Shabbos candles. Every person has an obligation to light Ner Shabbos. Men usually like, if you're by yourself, you have to light your own candles. You're at somebody else's house, what do? You make a kinyan. Sure, it's the halach and shulchan aruch. You have to either give some money, or you pick up the candelabra, pick it up, you ask permission, and you have an interest in that, in the candles or in the oil and the wick. That's what you're supposed to do. So when they light, they're lighting your oil.
You don't have you live by yourself. You don't have anybody in the house. You go to your sister's house for Shabbos. She do something with the Shabbos candle?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, it's not so simple. It's not simple because you're living at home. You're going home afterwards. You have to have light in your house, right? You're away. There's no question. Of course, you have to make. You have to make a kinyan in the candles. Either you give some money, or you make a kinyan. You do an act of acquisition. No, you have to ask. No, you have to ask permission. You can't acquire something unless they agree to allow you to. Could I acquire, have an interest in your candles? But she says, sure, you could have an interest, but you have to do an act of acquisition. So you have to pick up the candelabra, 3 tvachim. 3 tvachim you have to pick it up. It's a kinyan hagbo. Pick it up 3 tvachim, put it down. Or you could even take the bottle of oil before, or the candles. Pick up the box of candles, and when you have an interest in the candles, that's the way you do it. Not so complicated. He says something interesting. Loseis pruta. Hainu shein tzorch achasnai liten kochatzi otzos aneros. You'd say, if you want to be a partner, you should pay 50%. 50% of the cost of the fuel. He says you don't have to give more than a cent. Rak bepruta sagidai. They say makno chelik bashemen. As long as you have a share of the oil, so you don't have to own the amount of oil that's going to burn a half an hour. He says, but the balabais should add a slightly more, a little bit more oil on his behalf. Well, anyway, if you use oil, you always have more than half an hour's worth, and usually let it burn more than half an hour. Shori, you don't have to pay. Let's say he gives you a gift. What difference make if you give money or you do a kinyan? He said, but if the guest has his own candles, it's better you should light your own. It's better you should It's better you should do your own mitzvah rather than delegate it through an agent. to be continued.